The Caribbean conquest of 2041. The end of the war has begun. Slowly, St. Vincent and the Grenadines start to gain independence. And most countries gain their independence, while St. Vincent and a few others have not. Later up, Suriname starts to gain independence. And Suriname is back. Further, Guyana starts gaining more land. And later, Suriname officially is back. Now, to the South Korean force in Macapa. They made an agreement with Brazil that they left, and so did the Dutch, with an agreement. Now the Dutch start to leave most of Brazil, because the end of the war is near. And same goes for Colombia. And also needs to leave the country. And now to the Allies. First, Sierra Leone leaves. So do India, the UK, Greece, Guam, and Ireland. Now starting in Spain, Italy, Portugal, Belgium, France, Norway, Germany, and the Czechs were the last to leave. Later, the last Dutch troops mostly left because of French Guiana possession. And then the Brazilians got some land back. And later, the US also was gone from Trinidad and Tobago. Venezuela also regained La Asunción and Gran Roque. Small pieces of the U.S. were left. And then Venezuela retrieved them back to Colombia, which quickly took these lands. And then Ecuador, who was also pretty possessed by the claims of Colombia, they started regaining land back. And Peru did the same as well. And now Ecuador is mostly back to normal. But then Venezuela started getting land back, mostly from Colombia. And Venezuela built itself a bigger empire, which only brought more tensions in South America. However, Guyana had seen a big success by gaining back some land. Some land was also gained back in Brazil and Colombia. And so did Colombia. And now, the map of America was back to normal mostly, except for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who was still under Caribbean rule. And the Caribbeans started the war again. Plowed in. The islands were taken again. But then they were backstabbed by St. Kitts and Nevis. And so, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and St. Lucia get it again. Which immediately got the other island's attention and fled back into the war. because this time, this war, the islands this time said no, because they wanted to end. And so it was. Guadeloupe gets land back together with Dominica. And now, only a few more need their land back. And especially St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, the last forces of the Caribbean islands are only on Barbados and Grenada. Grenada, they just fled. So it's all over for the Caribbeans. Only at one single island. And that was Barbados. Which finally, after heavy fighting and months of devastation, the Barbadians successfully kicked them off of the continent with a war that caused so many casualties. It finally ended, and that was a full settle of the war. And now, what were the borders? Now, the borders seem a little weird here. It kind of seems normal here between Colombia and Venezuela, but small bits still seem weird. And so it here also is by Mexico and Texas. Like, it's missing the bottom part, but yeah. And also a small bit of another state, I think New Mexico. So yeah. And yeah, the US is also missing Alaska, but that was given permission. And the same with those other borders. But yeah. Here is kind of a border dispute. But yeah. The war finally ended. Some borders are different, but that's all fine. They are lucky the war ended for them.